Hey loved ones, I'm Keyosha. It's pronounced Keyosha, meaning key of the ocean. I'm a life coach and a motivational speaker, known for my company Key Coaching, which focuses on self-betterment. In this podcast, I'm going to share with you what I've learned from being a coach. I'll provide you the keys not just to survive, but to thrive. Hey, and welcome back to Wisdom Wednesdays. You are now in the final episode of the season. This episode, I'm just super happy about because, when you finally get to the final of something. Anyways, you get the vibe. The topic of discussion is safe space. Grab your notebooks, grab your pens. It's going to be a lot of info. You don't want to miss a thing. Trust me. Talking about safe space, the first thing is, what even is that? It's a term people use, and what does it really mean, right? And what does a safe space look like? Well, this is something that's individual based. So that goes from person to person, whether or not a safe space means that the sound around you can't be heard and you tune it out in whatever way possible. Or it could be always having snack food around you because you like salty, crunchy treats. It could be anything, really. It could mean that you're accepted and not judged in whatever you say. Or it could be that you're accepted and not judged in whatever eclectic, colorful, cool things you choose to wear. Ultimately, the term safe space refers to places created for marginalized individuals to come together, to communicate regarding their experiences with marginalization. This most often means that this space does not tolerate violence, harassment, or hate speech. And the reason why a safe space is so important is because it is that pinnacle for people to be able to get things off their chest and not have to feel like they're alone in the things that they experience. But also, a safe space could mean that you're somewhere where another individual can feel comfortable to be themselves, whether or not they're going through good things or going through bad things. And so it doesn't always mean that this marginalized group is talking about It doesn't always mean that this marginalized group is talking about topics that are tough to discuss. Sometimes it means that they're joking about things that they can actually relate to based on the fact that they belong to the same marginalized group. Safe spaces are the places that are usually where change happens. When the topic of discussion is a tough one, this is a place where these marginalized individuals come together, feel a sense of community, and can be creative when coming up with conclusions and solutions for problems that they're facing. Whether or not we think about the example of Black Panther or protests, this is usually where people come up with ideas to make the petitions and try to pass bills such as the Crown Act. It is literally that humble, wholehearted holding for these things to manifest and become spoken into existence. And when we talk about the law of attraction, we talk about the fact that what we think and what we speak can become a reality. The more frequently we tell ourselves good things, like you are capable of doing really well in your life, you're worthy of wealth, you're worthy of love, then you start to believe that narrative and you start to support that narrative in your day-to-day life, allowing wealth to come your way and making a space for love to enter into your life unconditionally. And so speaking things into existence, especially in a safe space, is the most important thing for people who are trying to make a change, but also for people who are trying to make a change within themselves. We're all experiencing change, whether or not we're resisting it or going with the flow. It can be either or. But I'm sure you guys are aware by now that I am an advocate for going with the flow of change, embracing it, allowing it to happen, and trying to feel empowered while it is happening. Keyword trying. Obviously, big changes can be scary sometimes, but ultimately, change is inevitable. So, why not go with the flow and let it happen? Now, these changes, we can feel like they're good or bad, but actually having somebody to have as a sounding board or a group of people that we can bounce ideas off of, brainstorm with, and actually reach a full understanding of where we are and how the world interacts with us at any given moment is the reason why a safe space can be a positive reinforcement for change. Safe spaces can be found in a lot of different scenarios, whether or not it's pillow talk with a partner, your friend being a sounding board for you, or even the confidentiality clause from a counselor. Ultimately, safe spaces need to exist for the overall betterment of the human race, because we aren't who we are and we don't move how we want to move without these safe spaces. Picture this. I want to make a change because I could have anything happening for me. Maybe it is OCD. I'm really grossed out by the fact that every single time I'm done using the washroom, as a woman, which is different for a man, that I have to touch the flusher on the toilet seat. And so if my opinion of that aspect of how things already are grosses me out, it wouldn't really matter and there wouldn't be any change if I was bringing up these concerns and it wasn't a safe space. If the person on the other end of the concerns was judgmental, that would be the exact opposite of a safe space. And that would create like a negative self-image for me. I'd be like, what's wrong with me? I have OCD. I can't see that this is just normal. But a safe space for someone to talk about these thoughts that are happening in their mind and maybe come up with a phenomenal idea of a foot flusher or a sensor that knows whether or not you're sitting on the toilet or not. I mean, those don't always work. Obviously, sometimes they're scary. They just go off underneath you and you're still there. But I mean, that's why they're in a work in progress, right? Yeah, that's why they're a work in progress, right? That's why these safe spaces need to exist. Because if we're not given the chance to talk about the fact that the toilet is flushing before we're even done, we can't think of other ways to have a better experience in this lovely thing that we call life. A safe space is the difference between living and existing in your life and loving life unconditionally. Because when you're loving life unconditionally, you're creating a safe space for others. And others are creating a safe space for you. And so unconditionally means without judgment. It means that there is no variation between how much somebody loves you from any given moment to any other given moment. And they'll open up, feel free to be vulnerable and talk to you about this thing that really grosses them out, like flushing the toilet with their hand. But it's the reason why inventions come up. It's the reason why we can actually see so many different great changes happening for us. This is how we come up with global solutions. This is how we make our life expectancy longer. Because another topic of discussion in a safe space is how to make this world a safe place. And if moms didn't talk about strollers and car seats, and if people of color didn't talk about making sure to keep your hand on the wheel when you get pulled over by the police, if people who were of a different age range didn't talk about certain things that are not okay to talk about with older people that make them feel judged or make them feel like they're going to get in trouble because they have a crush, then there wouldn't be a perfect place to process all of these things. And so a safe space is that second step from your first initial reaction to what your perspective is, your opinion of what you're going through, to transitioning into metabolizing things. And metabolizing doesn't always mean sitting by yourself with your own thoughts. Which brings me to my next point, because a safe space can exist for you to have topics of discussion discussed in a non-judgmental setting. But also, to hold a safe space for someone doesn't always mean you have something to say, or it doesn't always mean that you have something to contribute. Sometimes a safe space just means sitting still and listening to someone or anyone, whether or not they're staring, sobbing, or have something to say, speaking. Which I think is the hardest part, to wrap your head around. The fact that to hold a safe space for someone doesn't always mean that you have something to say or to contribute, and that you're quite literally still holding a safe space for somebody by sitting with them while they stare, sob, or speak. Because we don't think about helping somebody as doing nothing. But we may not actually realize that we can help people a lot sometimes just by being there, which we don't realize is still doing something, even if we're not giving advice, affection, or filling the void of silence. Sometimes silence is good. Sitting in stillness it's good for our psyche. Being able to speak freely without thinking in my head that I'm rambling to somebody, and just being able to say it all until it's all gone and I don't have anything to get off my chest anymore, is still some lucky person out there's version of holding a safe space for me. So, most importantly, I want people to remember that they're still doing something by holding a safe space for someone. And I personally like to keep the habit of holding a safe space for somebody when I hear that someone they know has passed away. It's my form of condolences, as opposed to automatically saying my condolences or I'm so sorry, because I think that we've gotten really used to hearing I'm so sorry when people pass away. But the Western habit of like someone saying sorry is really, really common, especially in Canada. Like literally, if you walk by someone, it's like, sorry for existing. Sorry for breathing your air. Like, Canadians are really nice. The world needs more Canadians. Yes. But also, the word sorry gets a little overused and subsequently loses value. So, when you hear sorry because somebody that you know has passed away, it not only breeds the habit of you saying it's okay, like you usually do when you're walking past another Canadian, but also it kind of makes you not know how to react, especially because that precious person's passing isn't okay. And so I love to hold a safe space of just silence for that person when I've heard the news. And just let them feel what they want to feel. Say what they want to say, if anything at all, or do what they want to do, whether it's needing a hug or letting out some tears, because it's not often that someone just holds a space for us. So, yeah. It's most important to me to share with y'all the definition of a safe space and how diverse it can be from person to person. Because when we humble ourselves and we hold that safe space and we create that sense of safety for someone who desperately needs it, we can lighten their load. And we're doing more for them than we even realize we are. So, yeah. Go forth, take what I've given you, hold a safe space for somebody you love, do it however you know how, and try to do it for them. If you found this information useful, feel free to click the like or comment or follow me on any platforms. There's links below as well to check some more stuff out. And the song suggestion link is now always under the video. So, all right. Song suggestion of the week is Rhyme or Reason by Kari McClelland. Enjoy. And thanks for joining me, you guys. Have the best few weeks off. I will be away. Enjoy. Bye.